A clip, a confrontation, and a firestorm that refuses to die down. Women's basketball is at the center of national debate after a televised moment appeared to show a veteran player using a derogatory phrase toward Caitlin Clark as she left the floor. The video went viral in minutes. Fans flooded social media, demanding consequences. Commentators argued over what was heard and what wasn't. And now, the bigger questions are unavoidable. What do the cameras actually capture? How should the WNBA respond? And what does this say about fairness, player safety, and the future of a league riding unprecedented attention thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect? Stay with me as we walk through what's known, what's alleged, and what it will take to restore trust. If you care about the WNBA, player safety, and consistent league standards, hit like, subscribe for more coverage, and turn on notifications so you don't miss updates on the Indiana Fever, Phoenix Mercury, and the league's ongoing discipline policies. Share your take in the comments. What would a fair outcome look like here? Let's start with the moment that sparked it all. During a nationally televised game, cameras caught a frustrated player heading toward the bench after a physical sequence. Viewers believe the broadcast mics picked up an insult aimed at Caitlin Clark. Within hours, the clip was everywhere, slowed down, zoomed in, and analyzed frame by frame. Lip-reading commentary flooded timelines. Some insisted the words were unmistakable. Others warned that without clean audio, conclusions were premature. What's beyond dispute is this. The optics were terrible. The perception of a star rookie facing a targeted, personal slur added fuel to an already combustible conversation about how she's been officiated, defended, and discussed since turning pro. From there, the reaction split into two currents. On one side, fans call for immediate action. Fines, suspensions, or at minimum a public statement acknowledging the incident and clarifying league policy on racially charged language. On the other, a smaller but vocal group urged caution, reminding everyone that lip reading is unreliable and that context matters. In that tug of war, the WNBA's silence became its own story. Hours passed, then days. No formal disciplinary update, no clarification on what the league's broadcast feeds captured, and no clear reference to rulebook provisions around discriminatory language on or near the court. In a moment when the WNBA could have seized control of the narrative, it felt like the league left a vacuum, and the internet rushed in to fill it. Complicating matters further were posts asserting that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had stepped in personally. To be clear, the NBA and WNBA have separate leadership structures. The WNBA is led by Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and has its own operations, rules, and discipline processes. While the NBA and WNBA collaborate on many initiatives, player discipline in the Women's League is not Adam Silver's jurisdiction. That's not a matter of opinion. It's how both leagues are structured. The idea that the NBA fired a WNBA player made for a viral headline, but there is no official record supporting that claim. Responsible coverage means distinguishing frustration-driven speculation from actions that are documented and enforceable. To understand why emotion is running so high, you have to understand the season Caitlin Clark is having and what she represents to women's basketball. The Indiana Fever guard has been the most impactful rookie in years. She moves ratings. She sells out arenas. She packs road games with families who travel just to see her shoot from the logo and thread passes through traffic. That surge in viewership and ticket demand is measurable. Broadcasters have reported record audiences. Teams have opened larger venues. Local economies feel the bump on game nights. The phrase Caitlin Clark effect isn't hype, it's data. On the court, though, Clark has taken a beating. This isn't new to anyone who has watched the Fever this season. There have been hard fouls, shoulder checks, elbows, and off-ball collisions that wouldn't look out of place in the playoff series. Some of that is the pro game. Rookies get tested. Defenders are physical when they face a shooter who can break a game open in 2 minutes. But a sizable and growing segment of fans believe the line has been crossed more than once. They see shoves into the scorer's table, trips on drives, technicals for reactions that would barely draw a stare for other stars. They see clips shared, tens of millions of views stacked up, and a pattern they can't square with league messaging about inclusion, respect, and growth. That is why this latest incident hit a nerve. It wasn't just the possibility of a slur. It was a sense that standards shift depending on who is involved. Viewers asked hard questions. Why do some plays against Clark get treated like good, hard fouls, while her slightest reaction is policed? Why do certain controversies trigger media investigations, while others, captured clearly on camera, seem to float past without a word? And yes, many ask the hypothetical that always emerges in these moments. What if the roles were reversed? If a player were caught using language targeting a different race, would the response be swifter? Would the suspension be immediate? Those are uncomfortable questions. They're also unavoidable when the league's response is slow and opaque. Before we go further, a necessary disclaimer. Hateful language has no place in sport, nor does harassment on the floor, in the stands, or online. The WNBA's stated values are clear: inclusion, respect, and zero tolerance for discrimination. The only way to uphold those values is through consistent enforcement. That means following a process. Review the audio, consult broadcast partners, get statement from the teams, and issue a ruling that explains what was found and why the response fits the rule book. Fans can accept outcomes they don't like if they understand how the league arrived at them. What they won't accept is the sense that some players are protected while others are left to fend for themselves. The coverage of this controversy has reached well beyond the court. Clips of hard fouls on Clark have been stitched together and replayed across platforms. Old rivalries and college storylines have resurfaced. Personal posts have been scraped for out-of-context moments aimed at discrediting players on both sides of the debate. In the middle of the noise, damaging rumors have resurfaced about the personal identity of a veteran player. Claims that are not only unverified but inappropriate. Let's be explicit. Trafficking in personal rumors about gender or anatomy is not journalism. It is a violation of privacy that serves no public interest and has nothing to do with on-court conduct. Responsible discussion returns to the play, the policy, and the path forward. Period. There's also the matter of global baggage being dragged into a domestic sports argument. Some critics have raised a years-old case of a star who was detained abroad, then released in a high-profile prisoner exchange. That episode is a matter of public record in international politics, but it is not relevant to whether a comment was made on a WNBA sideline or whether a foul was flagrant. Confusing those threads doesn't clarify the present dispute. It muddies it. If the goal is accountability, stick to conduct at issue and the rules that govern it. So what would a credible response look like from the WNBA? It starts with communication. A brief statement acknowledging the incident, confirming that broadcast audio and camera feeds are under review, and outlining the rulebook provisions in play would immediately lower the temperature. Next, a timeline. Let teams and fans know when to expect findings. Third, a consistent standard. If the review confirms discriminatory language, explain the sanction in plain language and cite precedent. If the evidence is inconclusive, say so, and add what steps will be taken to discourage future incidents, such as refresher training on league conduct policies. Refereeing is part of this, too. The league can help its officials by clarifying points of emphasis around off-ball contact and repeat infractions. Consistency is the lifeblood of officiating. When stars feel protected and role players know the line, games are cleaner and safer, and narratives about favoritism fade. The WNBA lives and dies by the quality of competition. It's hard to sell "Watch the best women in the world" if the clips going viral are elbows and scrums, not the basketball brilliance that brought new fans in the first place. The teams have a role as well. Coaches can set the tone by backing their players publicly while keeping internal standards tight. General managers can work with the league office to submit tape and seek clarification on calls. Franchises can protect their investment in top talent by reminding everyone, veterans and rookies alike, that physicality is part of the job, but cheap shots are not. Above all, leadership matters. When a player like Caitlin Clark drives viewership, ticket sales, and national conversation, the entire ecosystem benefits. The league's obligation is not to treat her differently. It's to uphold the same rules for everyone, so that superstar nights aren't overshadowed by controversy. Let's be honest about why this feels so urgent. The WNBA is finally enjoying the audience it has long deserved. Ratings are up, merchandise moves. Young fans are finding heroes. Families are spending their weekends and travel budgets to see teams on the road. The last thing the league can afford is a credibility gap. When people sense that rules bend for some and not for others, they tune out. They don't write letters. They don't file petitions. They simply stop watching. That's how momentum dies. Not with a bang, but with a shrug. There's a path out of this, and it looks a lot like the process professional leagues follow when the stakes are highest. First, strip away the noise and identify the conduct under review. Second, gather the evidence. Audio, video, witness statements. Third, apply the rulebook without fear or favor. Fourth, explain the outcome in a way that respects both the players involved and the intelligence of the audience. Finally, move forward with some humility. If the evidence was inconclusive, say so. If the sanction was stiff, say why. If apologies are offered, accept them and set expectations for the future. And then, let the basketball retake center stage. Because at the heart of all this is a rookie who has handled more attention, more physical play, and more scrutiny than anyone in recent league history, and responded with poise. Clark keeps making plays, lifting crowds, and carrying herself like a pro. She doesn't need anyone to fight her battles online. She needs a league that calls the game the same way on her as it does on everyone else, and that addresses incidents of hate or discrimination with the seriousness they deserve. Consider the upside if the WNBA gets this right. The conversation flips from outrage to optimism. Headlines shift from controversy to clarity. The next viral clip is a deep three over a perfect contest, a no-look dime in transition, or a chase-down block that erupts a sold-out arena. That's the product the WNBA wants to sell, and it's the product new fans came to see because of the Caitlin Clark effect. Protect it, not by protecting one player, but by protecting the integrity of the game. There's one more point worth making. Sports are emotional by design. Players talk. Fans shout. Moments boil over. Nobody wants a sterilized product without edge or personality. What people do want are bright lines. Racially charged insults cross them. Targeted harassment crosses them. The rule book already anticipates that reality. The league's job is to enforce it consistently, especially when the cameras are rolling and millions of eyeballs are on a sport reaching a new peak. As we wait for official word, here's the best thing fans can do. Keep the pressure on, but keep it focused. Ask for transparency. Ask for timetables. Ask for consistency. Don't amplify baseless rumors about players' personal lives. Don't turn a debate about policy into a referendum on humanity. Demand better because you care about the WNBA, not because you want to win an argument on the internet. Women's basketball has never had a bigger stage. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent drawing audiences who will stay if the league meets this moment with professionalism. Brittney Griner is one of the best post players of her era, a household name whose career has unfolded under intense scrutiny. The WNBA is strong enough to apply its standards to both fairly and publicly. That isn't punishment. That's leadership. If you've made it this far, I want to hear from you. What does a credible resolution look like here? Should the league release the broadcast audio and announce a clear decision? Or focus on forward-looking policy and education if the evidence is inconclusive? How should the WNBA balance physical play with player safety as crowds and stakes grow? Drop your thoughts below. If you found this breakdown helpful, like the video. Subscribe for continued coverage of the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, the Phoenix Mercury, and lead discipline news. And turn on alerts so you're first to know when an official decision lands. The sport deserves clarity. The players deserve consistency. And the fans who are filling arenas deserve both.